Maya currently lives and works in Florida. She told this story about one of her old high school friends named Emily. The two of them had been close since their teenage years. But after graduation, Emily moved to Chicago to work and build a new life for herself. A few years later, Emily came back to her hometown for a short visit. Maya met her at a coffee shop, and the moment she saw Emily, she froze. It had only been a few months since they last saw each other, but Emily looked completely different, pale, exhausted, thin, like she hadn't slept or eaten properly in weeks. Back in high school, Emily had been stunning. Fair skin, sharp features, bright eyes, the kind of beauty everyone noticed immediately. But now she looked drained, almost lifeless. Maya asked if she was sick, but Emily only shook her head and said, "Come sit down, King. I need to tell you something." So they sat together, and Emily began her story. When she first moved to Chicago, Emily got a job at an upscale whiskey lounge downtown. It wasn't a shady place, more like one of those trendy late-night bars where professionals gathered after work. That's where she met a man named Victor. Victor was a regular customer. Every time he came in, he would ask Emily to sit and talk with him. Over time, they grew close. He eventually confessed that he liked her and wanted to date her seriously. Victor wasn't handsome. He was heavy-set, bald, covered in tattoos, and honestly intimidating-looking. But he was wealthy. He owned several tattoo studios around the city and came from a powerful family with money and property everywhere. Emily came from a poor background. She was tired of working exhausting night shifts, dealing with drunk customers, and being judged for working at a bar. So when Victor promised her stability, love, and a better future, she agreed to be with him. The relationship moved quickly. Victor told her to quit the lounge. They traveled together for months, and he treated her like royalty. Eventually, he offered to pay for her to learn a professional skill so she could build a future for herself. Emily chose makeup artistry. Victor paid for expensive master classes, luxury equipment, premium cosmetics, everything. People in the industry were shocked at how high-end her setup was. After almost 2 years together, Victor even brought Emily home to meet his family. Everyone loved her. For the first time in her life, Emily felt like she was living a dream. Then one night, Victor invited her to one of his tattoo studios. He suggested they get matching tattoos. Emily hesitated because her parents hated tattoos, but Victor convinced her. In the end, they decided on a small broken heart design, half tattooed on her shoulder, half on his. When they stood side by side, the pieces formed one complete heart. Victor personally tattooed Emily himself. While working on the tattoo, he smiled and joked, "Now you're mine forever." Emily laughed it off. Couples said cheesy things like that all the time. She even teased him back. "What if we break up someday? I'll just remove it." Victor laughed. "You'll never erase this. This is my mark on you." At the time, she thought he was only flirting. A few months later, Victor got into serious trouble with violent men connected to organized crime. One night he was attacked and hospitalized. Doctors couldn't save him. He died shortly afterward. Emily was devastated. She stayed with his family through the funeral and mourned him sincerely. But life moved on. Months later, she returned to work because she needed money and wanted to continue studying makeup artistry. That's when she met another man named Daniel. Daniel was a consultant from New York who traveled often for business. He started visiting the lounge regularly and became interested in Emily. Unlike Victor, Daniel was handsome, charming, and gentle. Emily liked him. They exchanged numbers and started talking every day. But after a while, Daniel suddenly became cold. Whenever Emily approached him at the lounge, he ignored her. Sometimes he even acted disgusted by her presence. Confused and hurt, Emily asked a coworker to secretly find out why. Later that night, the coworker came back pale. Daniel had told her that Emily already had a boyfriend. According to him, a man had messaged him from Emily's account, threatening him and sending photos of Emily kissing another guy. Emily swore she knew nothing about it. The coworker demanded Daniel describe the man. As Daniel talked, the coworker slowly turned white. Heavyset, tattooed, baldy, a terrifying face. It sounded exactly like Victor. The coworker even pulled up Victor's old Facebook photos. Daniel immediately confirmed. That's him. But Victor was dead. Emily checked her phone frantically. No messages, B. No photos, C. Nothing. As if they had never existed. After that, Daniel disappeared from her life completely. Time passed. Eventually, Emily began dating again, this time with a man named Ryan, one of the managers at the lounge. Ryan had secretly loved her for a long time, but waited until he was financially stable before confessing. Unlike Victor, Ryan was kind and sincere. Emily genuinely fell in love with him. Because workplace relationships were forbidden, they kept things secret. For months, everything was peacefully. Then one night, Emily had a horrifying dream. In the dream, Ryan came to her apartment wearing black clothes, the exact outfit he wore to work. He looked at her sadly and said, "I have to go now. Take care of yourself." Emily grabbed him desperately. Go where? When are you coming back? Ryan replied softly. They're taking me away. Then he walked outside and climbed onto a black motorcycle. The driver was Victor. Victor turned around, smiled at Emily, and sped away into the darkness with Ryan behind him. Emily woke up screaming at exactly 12:45 a.m. Terrified, she immediately called Ryan. No answer. Panicking, she drove toward the lounge to find him. A coworker told her Ryan had already left for home. That frightened her even more. She sped toward his apartment in Brooklyn. On the way there, traffic had stopped because of a terrible motorcycle accident. Police had already blocked off the area. Then Emily saw a helmet lying on the road. Ryan's helmet, too. She recognized the stickers she had personally placed on it. Her entire body went numb. At the hospital, doctors confirmed Ryan had crashed headfirst into a concrete divider. His injuries were catastrophic. He died before sunrise. Emily completely broke down afterward. She locked herself in her apartment for days, barely speaking to anyone. Then she remembered something Ryan once told her. He had asked her to remove the matching tattoo she shared with Victor. "I don't like seeing another man's mark on you," he had admitted gently. Emily finally decided to remove it. But the moment the laser touched her skin, something was wrong. Even with anesthesia, the pain was unbearable, like someone carving into her flesh with knives. That night, she developed a high fever. Soon, the tattoo area swelled horribly, becoming infected with massive abscesses. Doctors tried antibiotics, surgeries, injections, nothing worked. The swelling spread from her shoulder down her arm. Her skin hardened painfully. Every fever nearly killed her. At that point, Emily's mother became convinced something supernatural was happening. After hearing the full story, she believed Victor's spirit was haunting Emily. Desperate, Emily's mother traveled to Louisiana to visit an old spiritual healer. Without being told any details, the healer immediately said, "Your daughter is being followed by a dead man." He explained that Victor's spirit was attached to Emily because of the promises they made before his death, and because of the tattoo he personally placed on her body. The healer warned, "He doesn't want her to belong to anyone else." A few days later, Emily herself was brought to see the healer. During the ritual, Emily suddenly changed. Her voice deepened. Her expression became violent. Then Victor spoke through her. He admitted everything. He confessed he had sabotaged her relationships and caused Ryan's death because he believed Emily had betrayed him. "If she can't be with me," he growled, "she won't be with anyone." The healer fought for hours trying to drive the spirit away. Eventually, Victor vanished temporarily, but the healer warned that he was still dangerous. He gave Emily a blessed silver necklace and special herbal water for cleansing rituals, instructing her to pray daily and avoid removing the necklace. Surprisingly, Emily slowly recovered. The swelling disappeared within days. Only a thick scar remained where the tattoo once was. For a while, things seemed normal again. Then one day, the silver necklace snapped on its own. Emily called her mother, frightened. Her mother begged her to immediately return to the healer. But before she could, something happened. Co-workers later said Emily had been acting strangely in the days leading up to her death. She often whispered to herself in empty rooms. One employee overheard her crying quietly. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave you." Then Emily suddenly stopped showing up for work. Nobody could reach her. When co-workers finally forced open her apartment door, they found her dead. Police ruled it a suicide from an overdose of sleeping pills. to this day, Maya doesn't know whether Emily truly took her own life or whether something else finally claimed her. And ever since hearing the story, Maya has never looked at tattoos, promises, or forever vows the same way again. At first, Claire thought it was just grief. But after Ethan died, strange things started happening around her. A few months later, Claire went back to working at the lounge in downtown Chicago. Bills still had to be paid, and makeup school wasn't cheap. That was when she met Daniel, a businessman from Seattle who frequently traveled to Chicago for work. Daniel was handsome, charming, and polite. Unlike Ethan, he had a calm, gentle personality. Claire slowly opened up to him, and they began texting every day. But then, out of nowhere, Daniel suddenly changed. Whenever he came to the lounge, he ignored Claire completely. If she tried talking to him, he would coldly tell her to leave him alone. Claire was confused and hurt because they had never argued before. One night, Claire asked her co-worker Melissa to secretly find out what happened. Later that evening, Melissa approached Daniel and casually asked why he was treating Claire so badly. Daniel frowned and said, "Because she already has a boyfriend. Why is she still talking to me?" Melissa was stunned. Claire definitely didn't have a boyfriend. Daniel then explained that a man had messaged him from Claire's social media account, warning him to stay away from her. The messages even included photos of Claire kissing another man. But when Melissa asked him to show the messages, they had mysteriously disappeared. The photos were gone too. Daniel assumed the messages had been unsent. Melissa still didn't believe him, so she asked, "What did the guy look like?" Daniel described him. Heavy-set, bald, covered in tattoos, rough-looking, intimidating. The moment Melissa heard the description, chills ran down her spine. It matched Ethan perfectly, boy. She quickly pulled up Ethan's old Facebook photos. Daniel immediately pointed at the screen. "That's him." But Ethan had already been dead for over a year. Claire was horrified when Melissa told her everything. She checked her phone herself. There were no messages, no photos, nothing. After that incident, Daniel stopped coming to Chicago altogether. And eventually, Claire met someone else. His name was Ryan. Ryan was actually one of the managers at the lounge. He had secretly liked Claire for a long time, but never confessed because he felt he wasn't financially stable enough yet. Eventually, after saving enough money to buy a condo, Ryan finally asked Claire out. This time, Claire genuinely fell for him. Unlike before, Ryan truly cared about her. But because workplace relationships weren't allowed, they kept everything secret. For several months, everything was peaceful. Until one night, Claire had a terrifying dream. In the dream, Ryan came to her apartment wearing the exact black shirt and black pants he always wore to work. He looked pale. He softly told her, "I have to go now. Take care of yourself." Claire panicked and grabbed him. Go where? When are you coming back? Ryan looked at her sadly. They're taking me away. Then he turned around and walked outside. Claire chased after him and saw a black motorcycle waiting outside. Sitting on the bike was Ethan. Dead Ethan. He turned around slowly and smiled at her. Ryan climbed onto the motorcycle behind him. Then the bike drove away into darkness while Claire screamed for Ryan to come back. She woke up exactly at 12:45 a.m., drenched in sweat. Terrified, she immediately called Ryan. No answer. Again. No answer. Panicking, Claire drove straight to the lounge. Her co-worker told her Ryan had already left for home. Claire felt sick. She rushed toward Ryan's apartment in South Chicago. On the way there, she passed an accident scene. Police cars, ambulance lights, and lying near the road was Ryan's helmet. Claire recognized it instantly because she had personally placed custom stickers on it. Her entire body went numb. She ran toward the officers, asking what happened. They described a man in black clothes riding a motorcycle who had crashed violently into a barrier. Claire knew immediately, it was Ryan. She raced to the hospital. Ryan's family was already there outside the emergency room. Doctors tried everything. But Ryan died that night, only days before his birthday. Claire completely broke down afterward. She stopped leaving her apartment, stopped talking to people, stopped eating properly. And then she remembered something Ryan once told her. He had always hated the matching tattoo she shared with Ethan. One day he told her gently, "You should remove it. It doesn't feel right keeping something like that tied to your past." At the time, Dewey, Claire agreed but kept postponing it. Now, after Ryan's death, she finally decided to remove the tattoo. But the moment the laser treatment started, she screamed. Even with numbing injections, the pain felt unbearable, like someone was carving into her flesh. The doctors were confused because other patients were handling much larger tattoo removals without issues. But Claire cried so hard she nearly passed out. That night, she developed a severe fever. The skin around the tattoo swelled horribly. Within days, a massive infected lump formed over her shoulder. Doctors drained it. It came back again and again. Soon the entire side of her shoulder became swollen and stiff. No medication worked. That was when Claire's mother began believing something supernatural was happening. And when Claire finally told her everything about Ethan, her mother became convinced Ethan's spirit had never left her behind. Claire's mother became desperate. Someone told her about an old spiritual healer living deep in rural Louisiana, a man rumored to handle cases involving restless spirits. So one morning, Claire's mother and aunt secretly drove there alone out. At first, they only described Claire's condition. They never mentioned Ethan. Never mentioned the tattoo. Never mentioned any dead boyfriend. But after listening quietly, the old man suddenly said, "Your daughter has a male spirit attached to her." The room went cold. "He's angry," the healer continued. "He's tormenting her because he wants to take her with him." Claire's mother froze. Then the healer described Ethan perfectly, even though nobody had said his name. He explained that before Ethan died, he and Claire had made emotional promises to each other. Obsessive promises, eternal promises. And because Ethan died suddenly, his spirit never moved on. Instead, he stayed beside Claire. Waiting. The healer explained something even more terrifying. The spirit wouldn't have become violent unless she did something that made him feel betrayed. That was when Claire's mother finally told him everything. About Daniel B. About Ryan. About removing the tattoo. The old healer nodded slowly. Then he said, "We need to speak to him directly." A few days later, Claire was brought to the healer's house. But they lied to her the entire drive, telling her they were visiting relatives. As they got closer, Claire suddenly started panicking. The pain in her shoulder exploded violently, and she began hearing a voice whispering directly into her ear. "Go back. Turn around. Don't go there." Over and over again. She screamed at her mother to drive home. She became hysterical inside the car, crying, kicking, throwing things. Shit. But the moment they arrived at the healer's property, she suddenly went silent. "Come." To calm her. The healer walked outside and grabbed Claire's wrist before she could run. Then he pressed something into her palm and dragged her inside. Seconds later, Claire collapsed. And when she looked back up, it was no longer Claire speaking. A man's voice came out of her mouth. Ethan's voice. "We." The healer calmly asked, "Who are you?" And through Claire's body, the spirit answered, "My name is Ethan Carter, Ma." He then described his full name, where he used to live, and even the details of how he died. Claire's mother nearly fainted. The healer asked, "You're dead. Why are you still following her?" Suddenly, Claire's body started shaking violently. Then Ethan screamed through her, "Because I hate her. I loved her when I was alive. She promised she'd stay with me forever. But only months after I died, she was already with other men." The healer argued back, "She's alive. She still has a future. You weren't even married." But Ethan refused to listen. "She belongs to me. If any man touches her, I'll kill him." Then he suddenly turned toward Claire's mother and laughed. "You don't believe me?" "The last boyfriend wanted her to remove my tattoo. So I took him away, Lee." Claire's mother broke down crying immediately. The healer realized the spirit was far more dangerous than expected. He quickly began chanting prayers and trying to force Ethan out. But suddenly Claire's body jerked backward violently. Then she collapsed unconscious. The spirit disappeared. When Claire woke up, she remembered nothing. The healer looked deeply troubled. "That spirit is extremely strong," he warned her. "And he's obsessed with her. He may eventually try to kill her completely." The healer then instructed Claire's mother to buy a pure silver necklace. After performing a ritual over it, he placed it around Claire's neck. "As long as she wears this," he said, "the spirit won't be able to get close easily." For the infected wound, he gave them a strange bottle filled with green liquid. He instructed Claire's mother to wipe Claire's shoulder with it several times a day, while continuously praying and reading scripture aloud. And somehow, it worked, Within days, the swelling began shrinking. The fever stopped. The infected mass slowly disappeared. After about a week, the wound was almost completely healed. Only a thick, raised scar remained where the tattoo used to be. Claire eventually became healthy enough to leave home again. She even met up with an old friend for coffee and told her everything. But the scar never healed properly. It stretched across her shoulder like twisted flesh. And after that day, her friend only saw Claire one more time. During Christmas of 2019. Not long afterward, Claire called her mother in tears. The silver necklace had suddenly snapped by itself. Her mother immediately panicked and told her to get it repaired and return to Louisiana to see the healer again as soon as possible. But Claire was busy with work. She delayed it. A fatal mistake. According to co-workers, during her final week alive, Claire started behaving strangely. Sometimes they caught her whispering alone inside the employee break room. One co-worker once overheard her quietly saying, "I'm sorry. It hurts. I didn't mean to leave you." The co-worker thought Claire was talking on the phone. But when she walked into the room, Claire was completely alone. No phone. No earbuds. Nothing. Then one day, Claire suddenly stopped showing up to work. Nobody could contact her. Co-workers called repeatedly. No answer. The next morning, one of her friends went to check on her apartment. The door was locked from the inside, and there was a strange smell coming from the room. Police were called immediately. When officers forced the door open, they found Claire dead on the floor beside her bed. She had overdosed on sleeping pills. Some people believed it was suicide. Others believed Ethan's spirit had finally driven her insane. No one truly knew what happened inside that apartment. But after the funeral, Claire's mother quietly revealed one final detail. The silver necklace protecting Claire was found broken into 2 pieces beside her body, and the old tattoo scar across her shoulder had turned dark red again the night she died. That was the story submitted by a woman named Rachel. And whether people believe in the supernatural or not, stories like this are exactly why some people fear making obsessive promises, matching tattoos, or emotional vows that are never meant to be broken even after death.